Mims Productions.
We have something to say, so won't you listen up?
Listen up.
We have something to say, so won't you listen up? Every man, woman, boy, and girl. Won't you listen up? We're gonna touch the world. We have something to say, so won't you listen up?
Listen up.
We have something to say, so won't you listen up?
I'm Lee Mims, Lee Mims Productions. You can find me at LeeMimsProductions.com, and you can also find me at youtube.com/TLM0406. Today's topic is outgrowing relationships. Outgrowing relationships. Now, this is something that people don't like to talk about, probably outwardly, but it may be something you talk about inside your home, or you may talk about it or think about it rather on a daily basis. It happens in multiple areas. Let's start out with the childhood friend situation. Sometimes you'll have a childhood friend and you grow apart and you're thinking, hey, what did I do? Is it me? Do they think I think I'm better? Blah, blah, blah. Well, sometimes you have to look at the actual title that you're saying, childhood friend. The good word says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, and when I grew up, I put childish things away. Well, sometimes people grow in different directions, not necessarily that you're better or they're less, or however you want to put it together. If we grew up as kids and I was single and all I wanted to do was play in the streets, I wanted to bar hop, I wanted to just do single events. We go here, we go there together, we go on vacation together, we go shopping together, we go to sporting events together, we always hanging out together. Well, that means at that point, nobody has an intimate relationship with anyone. But when you have an intimate relationship with somebody, now that's 2 times the amount of friends that you have to split up. Somebody's going to be annoyed. Either the intimate partner or it's going to be your friend is going to feel slighted. Now, the only time that works out is if, one, your friend is very mature and understands that you have an intimate relationship and understand what that means. Usually intimate relationships are being built towards something. Normally, family. I know me, once I met my wife at some point, she was a co-worker, and then she was supervision, and then she ended up being a girlfriend. Well, before that, a really good friend, a really good co-worker. And then time went by. Then it moved to girlfriend, if you will, then fiance, then spouse, then wife, then mother of my children. And now sometimes it just looks like we don't have any time for anything. You almost don't have time for yourself, which that's another podcast. You need time for yourself. But the point that I'm making, when you're going to meetings, parent-teacher conferences with your kids, you're helping with homework, sometimes doing the homework, yet another podcast. You get caught up in the kids, making sure they're all right, making sure the room is clean, making sure they're learning the basics of life, communication, bathing, cleaning your room, respect. Then that doesn't add in getting to see the grandparents, getting to see the aunts, taking them to see whomever, wherever, personal activities you're taking them on. I've just been talking about dealing with kids. I haven't even gotten to personal things that you do, like you may go to the barbershop, you just may need downtime, working overtime, shift changing, women having their personal appointments, whether it's seeing the beautician or, mani-pedi, whatever the case may be. As you can see, just naming what goes on the side of family on that stuff is weekly basis. You have minimal time. So if your friend cannot understand that childhood friend, apparently they got stuck in the hood that you were in as children. We'll just take that world apart and use that. That's where their mind got stuck. So that's not on you, that's on them, and that's their loss. Yeah, you'll feel a loss, but anybody that's dead weight needs to be cut off. And everybody can't go with you to the next level in your life. That has nothing to do with money or fame or cars or anything like that, but you can apply that there too. Sometimes people they're incapable of going to the next level. They can't see the vision that you have. They don't buy into it. And sometimes it just comes down to jealousy and hatred and hateration and wish they had it for themselves. Those are other podcasts, but we're talking about 365 days of happiness, and oftentimes you try to wonder what happened to the childhood friend. Everybody grew in different directions. It's pretty much the nuts and bolts of it. Sometimes things happen. People grow apart, and that's perfectly fine. That also can happen to you in your adulthood. Maybe they make it all the way up to just before you get married, and maybe they're not married, or maybe they're not in a serious relationship, or maybe that's not their desire, which is nothing wrong with that. But now you have to figure out how to split yourself, which is very stressful. And it happens in families. You have siblings, you have maybe your in-laws, your matriarch, your patriarch. If they don't necessarily vibe on what you're trying to do, and it's not all about them, then you may also start noticing breakdown in that relationship. But everybody knows that everybody grows. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it definitely does. And sometimes you have to grow with the punches. When you're talking about relationship goals, my goal is, and it's a fantasy goal, but my goal is to try to make everyone part of my community. You know, I want to make sure that nobody's left out. I want to make sure everybody feels at peace. But sometimes that is a fantasy, and I realize that's just what it is. You can try to make people a part of all you want, but sometimes people, if they're not driving the vehicle that you're in, they don't want to be down, which is fine. But just do realize that you can outgrow relationships, and sometimes it's healthy. I look at the garden, you know, you're planting flowers and you're trying to make everything look good. Well, weeds grow up. Guess what? They grow up alongside whatever flower you put in. Sometimes they gotta be plucked. You know, you don't want the weeds to sit here and strangle your flowers, and the next thing you know, the flower is dead and the doggone weed is dead. Now what do you have in your garden? Dirt and rocks. Where's the beauty in that? Lots of times when you leave a job, sometimes those people were just there for that section. Oh, we're going to keep in touch. Yeah, okay, we'll see. It's okay. People are there at the job because they're there to work and they're there to earn money. They're there to make money, not friends. So don't feel bad if you move from one job to the next and the person don't keep up with you. Maybe they were just there for that season to help you get along in that season and help them as well. But again, that's outgrowing a relationship. You know, there's work friends or associates, co-workers is what we really call them. You have the neighborhood, you have neighbors. You can have friends inside the neighbors, but sometimes they're just neighbors. They're people I just walk by and give a head nod to. I don't spend more than 10 seconds because you're just a neighbor. But if we're talking regularly and having good conversation, then you're obviously more than just a next door neighbor. But the point that I'm making is every section of your life has people in it for a reason, and they're there for a reason. Everybody is not a friend. Everybody's not an associate. Everyone is not an intimate partner. Everybody has to play their role in that role and don't expect more than what is supposed to be being done. A neighbor is just a neighbor until you make them more. A coworker is just a coworker until you make them more. My wife was an associate at some point, but we wanted to grow the relationship. It just happened naturally. Boom, there it is. Sometimes we try to force a circle into a square. Stop trying to make people be or play roles that they're not built for. You'll never see a PT Cruiser towing a school bus. A tow truck does that, and I'm sure it's a special tow truck that does that. Stop trying to make do all the time. I'm Lee Mims. It's Lee Mims Productions, promoting 365 days of happiness, and it is possible. You can find me at LeeMimsProductions.com, YouTube.com/TLM0406. Just remember, everybody can't go to the level you're going to.